We welcome you to the General Auditing Office of Argentina, AGN, a constitutional body that assists the National Congress in technical matters and whose main purpose is the external control of the public sector, that is, the performance of audits and special studies. The tour begins at the headquarters, the present Dr. Raúl Alfonsín building, also known as the Palacio Biel, built between 1924 and 1926 for the Argentine Biological Institute, a pharmaceutical industry laboratory dedicated to the production of serums, vaccines, and insecticides. The AGN has been located in this building since 2014, after an arduous work to enhance the value of the cultural heritage. This neo-Venetian-style building has been declared of national architectural interest, and its sculptural group on the facade has been declared of national artistic interest. The tour consists of 7 points of great architectural and artistic value: the lobby, the historic elevator, an installation by the clock tower, the Hall of Columns, the Eva Perón room, the entrance hall, and the facade. You can listen to the description of each point with this audio guide. If you wish to learn more about the AGN, its functions, the history of the building, and its restoration, you can sign up for the various guided tours programs offered regularly. For more information, contact the staff located at the entrance point at the end of the tour, and also visit our website www.agn.gov.ar. We hope you have enjoyed your visit. Before you leave, don't miss the chance to join our raffle for a special tour of the historic clock. You can scan the QR code at the exit and fill out the short satisfaction survey. Before you start the tour, please note that the audio will end when you hear the next sound. Point 1. The lobby. Let's start. We are at the central corridor of the building, designed by the architect Attilio Locati, collaborating with the engineer Giuseppe Sebastiano Locati from Italy. Regarding the formal solutions and the materiality of the work, most of the materials used to construct the building come from this country. This lobby has Corinthian columns, a marble floor, and a pictorial ceiling with decorative patterns of leaves, flowers, and plants that have been recovered and preserved over the years. Initially, the Argentine Biological Institute used only the ground, first and second floors of this building for its commercial and administrative activities. As we move forward, you will see the institutional communication space of the agency, where we explain what legislative oversight is and our relation with the National Congress. At the end of the tour, you will have the opportunity to take part in a Q&A session. What is the value of legislative control? Next, you will see a timeline of the AGN and the history of public control in Argentina. We will meet again at the next stop, located at the end of the main hall, the historic elevator. Point 2. The historical elevator. Dating back to the construction of the Argentine Biological Institute, this wrought iron elevator was manufactured by Otis, the world's leading manufacturer, installer, and service provider of elevators and escalators. During the restoration, the original Slovenian oak case was recovered, and as a safety measure, an acrylic case was added to allow the mechanism to be appreciated. The restoration of the lobby included the return of the pictorial designs. Griffins, mythological creatures, and a plant motifs can be seen in the corners of the ceiling, and Medusa's head in the central. Images of cherubs and plant forms in very poor condition were recovered from the walls surrounding the elevator. We continue on the first floor with 3 other points of interest. As you go up the stairs, you will see a series of large stained glass windows. In the center is an oval pictorial layer depicting the figure of a vase. Point 3. The Clock Tower. Welcome to the Hall of Pillars, the third point of interest, where an exhibition is dedicated to the building's symbol, the Clock Tower. Located on the 10th floor, declared in 2022 a national artistic interest by decree of the executive power. Inspired by the Tower of San Marco in Venice, it has a clock and a bronze bell with two automaton figures, strike the hours and half hours. The sculpture on the facade is the work of the Italian artist Michele Vedani, who also created the cherubs on the first floor balcony. The video and the infographic provide information and images on the characteristics and operation of the automatons, as it is a non-guided site. Now we can go to point 4, the Hall of Columns. Point 4. The Hall of Columns. This room was originally the administrative office of the Biological Institute. Today, on the other side of the wooden partition, you will find the offices of the president of AGN. The columns that give the hall its name are covered with stucco to resemble the marble on the surrounding pilasters. Both the columns and the pilasters are Corinthian. Now, directing your gaze upwards, you will see the central stained glass window. The imposing skylight is composed of 135 panels distributed in 15 sections. The original glass was restored with great care. Notice the difference between the blue ribbons, which are light, and the ones that are missing, which are dark. If you now take a look at the walls, you will notice the bas-relief of fleur-de-lis, which was found and protected after the removal of several layers of paint. In this room, you will find the table that was used during the meetings of the Board of General Auditors in its former headquarters. Above this object of cultural patrimony, there is an exhibition of photographs from the time when the National Legislative Sector was built in the city of Buenos Aires. Point 5. Eva Perón Hall. This was the conference room of the Argentine Biological Institute. The Board of General Auditors renamed it in 2015 Eva Perón Hall due to its historical importance. Here, Ms. María Eva Duarte de Perón, president of the Eva Perón Foundation, personally attended the meetings of the National Institute of Social Welfare. This is where the bi-weekly meetings of the Board of Auditors are held to approve the reports sent to Congress on the government's actions. The board is composed of 6 general auditors, 3 elected by the House of Senators and 3 by the House of Deputies, and its president is appointed on the proposal of the main opposition party with the largest number of representatives in Congress. The coffered ceiling has 30 coffers formed by the structural beams of the construction, decorated with paintings and golden plaster moldings. On the pendentives, which are the concave spaces that unite the walls with the ceiling, the 4 elements of nature can be observed. On the right, the representation of air and earth, and on the left, water and fire. 4 pairs of cherubs holding cartouche in which the names and dates of birth and death of 4 important scientists of the period have been identified using technical methods. The staining of the cartouche was left for a future stage of restoration. The pendentive on the front side of the hall shows the image of the tree of life, with the Latin inscription Vita, which means life. On the opposite side, the image of the tree of death, with the Latin inscription Mors, which means death. This hall has been completely restored thanks to the photographic documents from the early period of the building, which clearly indicate its original appearance. We invite you to return to the ground floor and go to the entrance hall, where the last point of interest of this tour are located. Point 6. Entrance Hall. We are in the entrance hall. In this room, the ceiling stands out with a series of cofferts that surround an oval painting, Marflash by Nazareno Orlandi, a well-known Italian-Argentine painter. This pictorial technique is used to fix a canvas on a stretcher to the architecture. The image symbolically represents the functions of the Argentine Biological Institute. The central winged figure is the goddess of victory, with a scepter and a crown of olive trees, symbolizing the triumph of life. On one side, a woman, possibly Hygeia, goddess of health, holds a cup with intertwined snakes, a symbol of medicine, and on the other side, a man, perhaps an allusion to Apollo, holds a torch as a symbol of light and knowledge. The curved glass, in its origin, initiated a tour through the windows displaying Biol's products. On the marble floor, originally there was the logotype of the Argentine Biological Institute, and then the National Social and Welfare Institute. Now you can observe the AGN's logo. There were also other institutions that work in this building. Finally, at point 7, we will look at an information panel displaying an image of the building's facade and its highlights. Point 7. The facade. We are at the last point of interest of this tour, the facade, where we can see records of the history of the building and the institutions that house it. As for the architectural characteristics and the pieces of artistic and handicraft value, we can recognize a new Venetian-style curtain facade that joins two independent units. From the ground floor to the second floor, with entrance through the central hall, there were the spaces destined to the commercial and administrative tasks of the institute, and from the third floor, the building was destined to housing, with independent entrance on the sides. The facade preserves the year of the completion of the work and the name of the person who commissioned the construction, the Argentine Biological Institute. On the balcony of the second floor, there is a sculptural group forming cherubs, sculptures cast in bronze, by Michele Vedani, a Milanese artist who also designed the automatons of the clock tower of this building. The lampposts, gargoyles, and all the bronze work were brought from Italy. In the central part of the balcony are some of the images designed to communicate the company's spirit. A tree of life with the words biology and chemistry, and under the tree the Latin legend, Labor omnia vincit, labor conquers all. On either side of the central window of the balcony, two murals, each with a female figure, symbolize truth and wisdom. They were painted by the Florentine artist Salvino Toffanari. The acronym you can see stands for the National and Welfare Institute and was kept during the restoration to mark the periods of this institute in this building. Above the entrance door, you will see the building's current name, Presidente Raúl Alfonsín. This designation was established by law to honor the first president of the democratic restoration. Finally, the ornamental iron gates that automatically raise and lower from the basement were made in Argentina. Originally, lowering the gates created a longer walkway with access to the curved windows displaying Biol products. This is the end of the tour. We thank you for your visit and remind you that the General Auditing Office offers guided tours. For more information, contact the staff at the entrance or visit our website www.agn.gov.ar.